Hi guys. Okay, so I'm gonna do my first sit down video of right now. But um this first one's gonna be a story about basically about my ex relationship. Or the relationship between me and my ex, basically. Um so let's see, we were friends for since I was like 14, so a good few years. And we didn't really hang out that much, just with mutual friends and everything. But we hung out enough. I mean, we knew each other. Um, I knew him and his girlfriend who were on and off for years. And I knew he had a child quite recently with his ex. So one day I was on my way to work and I saw him sitting out front of his house, and I, just texted him to be funny and friendly, and I haven't seen him in a while. So from there we started talking. I found out that he wasn't with his baby mom anymore, and, for the sake of all this, let's call him, we'll give him the name Scott. I'll call him Scott. So, me and Scott started hanging out more, and we were catching up like old times. He didn't have his license at the time. So, I, would hang out with him, pick him up from work. I would pick up his son and hang out with his son for the day if he had work. And his son would sleep over my house. And my parents adored his son, and my parents really liked him. I introduced him to my friends. My friends really liked him. So things were going cool. Then we found out that his sister and brother-in-law were moving to Jersey. So my parents decided that, Scott and his son could move in with us. I wasn't quite sure about the whole ordeal, but I was like, okay, cool. So they moved in with us, and things were going cool. Me and Scott did, decide we were going to share a room. At first it was decided that we were going to put two beds, or a bed down here for him, and just have a bed down here for me. And then his son would have a room. So, as that was going on, as this was all going on too, the baby mom was not around. She kind of went, like, MIA for a while. So, then me and Scott started dating. It was cute. He asked me out in a cute little way. It was good. We had a good relationship going. I really, really liked him. Like, it was nice. I enjoyed him a lot. Like, we had a good relationship. I knew he had lost his license due to a DUI. I knew that ahead of time. I knew that he liked to drink a lot. I was well aware of this. I don't think I realized how much of a problem it really was. The baby mom came back into the picture and was not very happy that we were dating. She was very, very unhappy about it. She was like, you're not replacing his mom. And I'm like, I'm not trying to. Like, I am just, the girlfriend. I am, here to help. I'm not replacing anybody. So that whole ordeal went down. Scott would go out a lot drinking. Or he would drink here a lot. And get very, very intoxicated. And that would cause most of our fights. He would come home drunk, or he would get drunk here, and he was a very, very angry drunk. So a lot of times I did not like him going out. I did not like him drinking. I really did not like it, because I did not like the person he became when he drank, and most people want it. I knew of a time that well, okay. I knew of a time that he did cheat on me. And, you know, he said he didn't, but all in all, I knew that he did. So, but I kind of, like, overlooked that because of how much I liked him. So move forward a bit. And I forget the dates, but, he was over at a friend's house, and I had his son here. And, I couldn't get a hold of him. Finally, I got a hold of him that night, and I was like, if you're drinking, let me come pick you up. He's like, no, I'll be fine. I'm like, okay. Well, then, just be safe coming home. So, and this happened, mind you, this happened before we were dating. But it was, like, right before we started dating. So he was living here at the time. So, the next morning, I wake up to a phone call from my mom, and she's like, do you know where Scott is? I'm like, no. I'm like, as far as I know, he didn't come home last night because he's not in bed with me. And basically, I go upstairs to check on the son, and he's standing there with him, and he had gotten a DUI. So, all through our relationship, we were waiting for, charges from this DUI to come about. We thought maybe he wasn't going to get charged with a DUI. Later on down the road in our relationship, he ended up getting the charges. So I guess about last June, July, last July, I guess. June or July, he ended up going to jail. And that was a really, really sucky time. His baby mom was supposed to come and take their son. She never came. I had his son. He was in for 3 months, and I had his son the entire 3 months. I raised his son the entire 3 months. With the help of my friends and family, but I still did it. I worked, and I took care of his son. And I loved his son. I loved his son so much. Just as much as I loved him, I loved his son. Maybe even a little bit more. I'm not going to say our relationship was perfect. It was not perfect. Our relationship was horribly, horribly imperfect. He drank a lot. He drank almost every night. And he was mean. There were holes put in our walls. There was fights every night. And I'm not blaming everything on him because it wasn't all him. I'm not the easiest person. He's not all at fault. I wouldn't let him go out and hang out with his friends, and that got him angry. Well, I didn't trust him. I called him 24/7. Well, I didn't trust him. I wanted to know where he was. I wanted to know that he was safe. I didn't trust him. I have an attitude problem. He couldn't handle that. I'm sorry. But, so he's in jail, and I'm raising a son. I was up at the jail twice a week to see him. And I'm also here keeping up with his family and my family and all that. So he gets out, or he's about to get out. And we find out that he can't come back and live at my house because of another issue. So we had to get an apartment, or he had to go to like a halfway house or something like that. So we decided that I would get an apartment for us because, we wanted to stay together and he needed to be with his son and all of this. So I had to think of all options because I couldn't afford an apartment. I could not afford an apartment on my own. There was no way. And with him not working, that was impossible. So finally, my friend decided she would move in with us, my best friend. So then we ended up getting the money for the down payment for the apartment. With the help of his mom and my mom and her. we got the down payment. So we moved into the apartment. He got out of jail. That night that he got out, it was probably the best night of my life. I felt so relieved. I was so happy to see him. And from there on, I thought everything was perfect. You know, he was like, I am not drinking no more. I'm done with all this crap. I want to, move on and I want to be happy. And like, I thought everything was good. I thought everything was going to be really good. And for the first while it was. We had a good time. We liked our apartment. We were happy. He got another job. Things were going really, really good for a little while. Until they weren't. Then he, wanted to go out. And he wanted to drink more. And he didn't like that I didn't want him to go out with his friends. He didn't like that I didn't want him to go out to the bar. He didn't like that I didn't want him to drink. But I mean, I didn't like who he was, and I told him that. I didn't like who he was when he drank. When he drank, he was not my boyfriend. He was not the person I fell in love with. But he wasn't the person I fell in love with at all, actually. Because I fell in love with someone who wasn't even real. So literally just as time went on, we became more miserable, basically. Then there came a few days where we basically didn't talk. He would get up in the morning and he wouldn't say a freaking word to me. It was beginning of December. Well, like middle of December. And he had to work Christmas party, so he got out of bed, left. Wouldn't say anything to me. I'm like, okay. I had work that day too, and I had a Christmas party at work too, so I just said to him, I'm like, well, I'll see you when you get home. And I'm like, I love you. He didn't say anything back. So I'm at work that night, and I'm supposed to work until, 9 o'clock, I guess. I was texting him all night, and I was trying to get an answer from him and making sure he's okay, and he's not answering me at all. And, so I thought it was really weird that I wasn't getting a single answer from him. Because usually after I text him, like, a lot, he tells me to stop texting him or whatever when he's mad at me, and I'm just like, okay, that's weird. So, basically, yeah, sorry. I was trying to text my friend then who stayed at the apartment who had the apartment with us. She wouldn't answer me either, which was, again, really, really weird because she always answered my texts. So I knew something was going on. I was like, something's not right. Nobody's answering me. Something is going on. So I talked to my boss and I'm like, there's an emergency at home. I'm like, I really need to leave. Is that any way I can go? So she let me go. And she's like, yeah, just let me know that everything's okay. So this was about 6:30. So around 7, I pulled up at my house, or at my apartment. And my boyfriend's baby mom's truck is there. And her current boyfriend is helping my boyfriend at the time, move his stuff out of the apartment. I had no idea. So basically it's nighttime and I was at work, they're all just moving his stuff out of the apartment. I got out of my car and I started screaming. I started crying. I didn't know what the hell was going on. No one would answer me. He wouldn't even stop to talk to me for a minute. My best friend was sitting in the car crying. Her boyfriend was sitting there with her, and the baby mom was just standing at the top of my steps in my apartment, he wouldn't even really talk to me. After a few minutes, he actually started to talk to me, and He's like, I just have to go. I just have to go. I smelled alcohol all on his breath. And I begged him and begged him not to go. I said, what can we do to fix this? What can we do to make this work? Like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this tonight. You know, we can try to make this work between us. We can, get help. Like, we've been together a year and a half. You don't have to do this. But he had already made his decision long ago. I could tell. Especially if he had them helping him. He was already ready to move out. So, then once he left with them, well, no, actually, I think, did I leave before him? No, he left before us, I think. So, he left with them, and I drove to my parents' house. And I just cried. I didn't know what else to do. I just watched the man I love leave and leave me, and I didn't know what else to do. So I stayed at my parents that night, and the next morning I called him. I was at the apartment so I could shower, and I called him, and I'm like, can we talk? And he's like, when I'm ready, and it was all such a mess. So I ended up going to pick him up that day to go get my mom's cell phone bill, or, well, his name off my parents' cell phone plan. But we ended up not being able to do that, so I took more of his stuff over to him. And he basically just told me, it's not gonna work. We're done. Because the night before we hadn't really broken up. He just left me, left the apartment. But he's like, no, we're just done. It's not gonna work, there's nothing. So I had nothing to say. There's nothing I could say. I was just like, okay. So basically after all that happened, I talked to him a little bit here and there. I moved back home with my parents. It was really, really hard for me. I was mourning a relationship that I thought was awesome. But as the time went on, I realized, I was horribly mistaken. Our relationship was shit. It was complete shit. It had its good moments, but he didn't love me. He didn't love me like he should have. And I know that. He cheated on me 3 times that I know of during our relationship. He was, angry with me all the time. And I wasn't happy. Both of us weren't happy. So, fast forward a little bit. Probably a few weeks ago. Maybe now a month ago or so. So, he stayed on my parents' cell phone plan. So, once a month I was getting money off of him. For my parents' cell phone. Well, then on Facebook, through a mutual friend, I saw a status, and it was stupid, but it pissed me off. She posted, what was the happiest moment of your life? And his simple comment just ticked me off. He put, hopefully I haven't had mine yet, but definitely moving out and getting my own place was at the top of my list. Or, sorry, moving out and becoming single. And I was like, really? So moving out and leaving me was part of the happiest moment of your life? How screwed up is that for you to say? I did so much for you. I always put out money for you. I raised your son. It's kind of a slap in the face. So, at that point, it was kind of like a boom hit. I told my mother I no longer want to get the money off of him. I no longer want anything to do with him or to see him. So, I mean, I'm better now. I have not gotten the money off of him. Other people do. I deleted him off Facebook. I don't actually have run-ins with him. I mean, unless I see him out in public, which I actually haven't yet, which I'm kind of surprised because we live like 3 miles apart from each other. But, no, I know what I want now, and I know what I deserve. And it wasn't him. He made me miserable. And he didn't care. He was okay with hurting me, and that wasn't okay. I will say this, though. The only part I do miss is his son. I feel like I've lost a child because of his son. Because I was around his son so much, and I cared about his son so much, it hurts not to be around him anymore. But, you know, and that's always gonna hurt. But to him, I feel nothing. I don't feel like I've lost anything. With him, like, in regards to him, I feel like I didn't lose anything because, you know, he wasn't really mine. Because if he was really mine, he would still be mine. But he wasn't. I was sharing him with everybody else unknowingly. And that's not fair. So, you know, a year and a half about. Our official breakup was, I think, December 18th. Best Christmas gift ever, let me tell you. I don't think Christmas will ever be the same because that was awesome. That was the best Christmas. But I mean, it wouldn't have, you know, been anything if it wasn't for my friends and family. I wouldn't have. They definitely helped me through everything, so. And, you know, to anybody who thinks they can't make it through, and, you know, your boyfriend is your everything and your best friend, and, you know, if they leave you, you can still get through it. Because they're not everything. You are everything. You're the one, not them. Like, it's fun to be in love, and it's nice to be in love, and it's nice to be loved. But, you know, care about yourself. You know, don't give a rat's ass about the other person, because they don't give a rat's ass about you, apparently. So, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me hear your stories. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends and introduce them to my channel. And yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.